All right, so today we're going to dig into the tactical DNA of modern football. We're on the hunt for the origin story of one of the most important positions on the pitch.
You know, when you think about the players who really define the game from out wide, the ones who are just constantly bombing forward, whipping in crosses, even scoring huge goals, we're talking about guys like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Dani Alves, Marcelo.
Well, it turns out every single one of them is basically working from the same playbook. It's a tactical template that was designed, perfected, and pretty much invented by one revolutionary player who completely changed what it meant to be a defender.
And that guy, that pioneer, was the legendary Inter Milan captain Giacinto Facchetti. See, he wasn't just a great fullback. He was the first true attacking fullback. He is the original. And just check out the wording here, because it's super important. It doesn't say he improved the role. No. It says he reinvented it. He literally took a position that was all about stopping the other team and turned it into a primary weapon. That's a massive, massive shift in thinking. To really get how huge of a deal this was, we've got to take a step back and look at the world he was playing in. Before Facchetti came along, the fullback position was, well, let's just say it was incredibly boring.
Your job was dead simple. Find the winger on the other team and just don't let him get past you. That's it. You were a stopper. You stayed in your own half, you reacted to whatever the other team did, and you defended. The idea of you crossing the halfway line to join an attack, it was basically science fiction.
And this right here, this just lays it all out, doesn't it? We go from a role that is totally reactive, purely defensive, and honestly pretty static, to something that's proactive, offensive, and unbelievably dynamic. Facchetti wasn't just playing a position better than anyone else. He was creating a brand new one live on the pitch.
But this is where the story gets really wild. This whole attacking revolution, it was born from the most defensive, buttoned-up system in the history of the sport, Catenaccio. It's a complete and total paradox. So you gotta ask, right? How on earth does a system famous for its lockdown, park the bus, ultra-cautious style produce a player who attacks with so much freedom and danger? It just doesn't seem to make any sense. Well, here's how it worked. Catenaccio was all about that rigid defensive shape. It used a special player called a libero, or a sweeper, who played behind the main defensive line as a sort of safety net. So when Facchetti decided to go on one of his crazy runs up the field, the libero would just slide over and cover the empty space. So get this, the team's super strict defense is the very thing that gave Facchetti the freedom to attack. Now, of course, you couldn't just throw any player into this role. Facchetti was a one-of-a-kind athlete. I mean, he was 6'2" with the lungs of a marathon runner. But the real key was his brain. His tactical intelligence was off the charts. He just knew the perfect moment to abandon his post and become a surprise attacker, popping up in the other team's box to cause chaos. And look, if you need one stat, just one number to prove how insane his impact was, here it is, 12. 12 goals in a single season from a defender back in the 1960s. That was a number nobody had ever seen before, and it's still a record in Italy. It was all the proof anyone needed that a defender could be one of your best attacking players. So yeah, his own career was incredible, but his real, lasting impact, it was the blueprint he left behind, a template that generations of players would study, copy, and build upon.
I mean, you can literally trace the family tree. It starts with Facchetti, the pioneer. Then you get the next generation of Italian legends like Cabrini and Maldini. Then that idea gets adopted by those explosive Brazilians, Roberto Carlos and Cafu. And that line runs straight to the tactical geniuses of the modern era, like Philipp Lahm and Trent Alexander-Arnold. They are all tactical descendants of Giacinto Facchetti.
So when you boil it all down, what's the big idea? What's the fundamental concept that ties all these incredible players together? The one that Facchetti gave to the game? It's this right here. It's so simple, but so powerful. Before Facchetti, defense and attack were seen as two totally separate things. He was the one who proved they could be the same thing. He showed the entire world that your deepest defensive position could be the starting point for your most dangerous attack. And that, right there, is why he's still so unbelievably relevant today. Sure, players now might be faster, they might have different skills, but the basic idea of what an elite fullback is supposed to be, a creative force, a goal threat, a playmaker, all of that still operates inside the framework that Giacinto Facchetti built more than 60 years ago. So, he wrote the book on it. He created the blueprint that everyone's still using today. Which just leaves one question, right? With the game always changing, who's out there right now getting ready to design the next one?